and thanks for joining us for another edition of Business24. We are coming to you from a major hub of small and medium enterprises in the nation's capital, Abuja. Within this complex, thousands of Nigerians are making a living from their small and medium-scale enterprises. It can be mind-blowing when you come in here and encounter the energy with the daily hustle of entrepreneurs who make things happen. You will be right to wonder what exactly makes this place unique, but just hang on for a moment and you'll get to find out. We will also feature our regulars. You will get to meet our young entrepreneur and also receive some expert tips. And as a bonus, get a review of the capital markets. I am Sophie Aigbomia, and I'll be right back after this break.
The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, the Made in Nigeria campaign. In the midst of unprecedented multiple challenges, our great country Nigeria, as Africa's largest economy, is surely marching on to a new era of all-round prosperity, especially through re-engineered and diversified economy, powerfully driven by the change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR.
We will patronize local entrepreneurs. We will promote the manufacturing powerhouses. Our objective is to make Nigeria a new manufacturing hub.
It is not time to complain. It is time to join the campaign. It is time for economic recovery, growth and diversification of our economy by Made in Nigeria.
Now, small and medium and micro enterprises are believed to be a major economic driver in any country. They create substantial employment and contribute to the nation's gross domestic product, the GDP. In Abuja, the nation's capital, there are several hubs of SMEs. Our correspondent, Chimobi Walter Nnanji, visited Plaza in Area 10, where thousands of people are engaged daily in businesses with interesting balance sheets.
National Bureau of Statistics say Nigeria's unemployment rate rose from 14% to 18% in 2017. On the other hand, it says the country's labor population increased from 84 million in the second quarter to 85 million in the third quarter. In a land of opportunities where necessity is the mother of all inventions, these young Nigerians have taken the bull by the hand by making themselves bosses of their own businesses through entrepreneurship. Welcome to the Plaza in Abuja, where the buzz never stops. Everywhere you turn is a business premise as various entrepreneurs engage in ventures, and here it is, specialized with emphasis on anything and everything that has to do with printing, stationeries and media-related materials. This is virtually a hub for SMEs, with lock-up shops numbering over 400. Over the last decade, the shopping complex have created more than 1,500 direct jobs and about 1,000 indirect jobs for the youths. 36-year-old Nwojiji Seprin is a shop owner in the complex who has been in the business for over 10 years.
I'm not a graduate, I'm a school dropout. Really, I started my business all the way from Lagos, where I went to stay with my uncle. So I was with him for some years. So after spending some years with him, I started to come down to Abuja and see what Abuja looked like. So on that process, I find myself in this business, and I've been into the business for like 10 years now. Customers are coming in, and sometimes we make a good sales. And reason is because of the location of this plaza. My business was over 20 million, and I think every day, by the glory of God, we generate tons of sales. I think we make above 200,000-300,000 in a day.
The value of the businesses in the complex is estimated to be worth over 4 billion naira. However, most of these is imported, and that creates a problem of dependence on foreign exchange, which can present a challenge, especially when there is a forex crisis in the country. Chairman Plaza Tenant Forum, Comrade Shuaibu Umeza.
Almost 98 to 99% of the materials used are being imported, and for that reason, that sometimes when you have fluctuation of dollar, it averagely affects our business, and that really sometimes hinder our operation and revenue generation. But if I must say, averagely in a month we talk about maybe 2 to 3 million.
Some of the clients say they are attracted to the complex by the centrality of its location, quality of products on display, and the good customer relations.
Quality assurance, you know, where you buy, you get product that you are sure of, you are not buying inferior material from anybody. Then you also look at a situation whereby if you need anything urgently, a phone call, please send so things, so numbers to me in my office. At least those are some of the factors that brings you to a particular place every time.
Some businesses here are not without their challenges, especially with the recurring problem of multiple taxation. However, speaking on some of the strategies for recording successes in the business, the managing director, Plaza Ibrahim Amana, pointed out the need for unemployed youths to engage themselves through skill acquisition and training.
We have corporate companies, and corporate companies are directly handled by the FIRS. I don't think issue of tax is a problem here. I don't think so.
So you don't have issues of multiple taxation at any level?
Yes, there must be an issue of multiple taxation, but we are trying in our own capacity as the management of these particular properties to make sure that we work together with the other tax collectors. You know, it cannot be only FIRS. There are other tax collectors from AMAC, from maybe environmental, for waste bill and the rest, but we are working in harmony.
Despite the huge emphasis laid on diversifying the nation's economy, the informal sector still remains largely untapped. With other growing challenges militating against the progress of these young Nigerians, it is their belief that government will come to their aid in creating an enabling environment. In Abuja, Chimobi Walter Naji, NTA Business 24.
Also in this plaza, there are literally hundreds of printers running mothers' businesses, churning out tons of posters and other printed materials. There are also new generation of smart entrepreneurs offering at home a range of products that used to be produced elsewhere or imported into the country. They are also good at it, as our correspondent Kunle Adeyeye found out that they are getting well paid for their services.
We have modern machines with, we call it direct image print, which is meant for printing on papers. As well, we have a large format machine, which are meant to print on billboards, which I think in international standard, these are machines they are still using. The only difference I think we could experience is maybe their year of production. You understand? But I think we still have some standard machine that could meet up with an international standard. In a month, sometimes we do contracts. So when you say monthly, generally, it's comprised with maybe some months you might handle some contract, bigger contracts, maybe that worth millions of naira.
Employ knowledge of recent software and digital machines. Their clients go home happy with world-class products courtesy of the most recent technology.
So in fact, the business is going, depends on and it's a seasonal business sometimes, and another thing is not something that somebody can say that the turnover is like this. Maybe annually the person can declare his turnover, but to just give out turnover is not something I can give just like that.
Services. They are actually middlemen and they are trading on fertile ground. They get good returns on the time they invest as loads of customers patronize these young entrepreneurs. So everyone gets a fair share of the booming printing venture. Sounds enticing, right? Well, this money spinning venture also comes with a bag of challenges.
The major challenge we are facing in this space is light. That is the only thing we have. We have problem with light. There is light. At least you can print up closer to 50,000 or 25,000 a day. That bigger machine that somebody he printed 10,000 per hour, and there is another one that print 10,000 per 30 minutes. Yes.
I derive pleasure because of money, but I have that mind and really much publishing mind to go into printing and other industrial work. So that was why we went into printing, and it's a very good business which other Nigerians too they can invest on.
Now our next report is another entrepreneur, but this time a young lady who is making the most from what nature has to offer. She makes body products, all organic. Let's now join Ronami as she introduces this young entrepreneur to us.
Welcome to this week's edition of Young Entrepreneur. Today we catch up with Janada Ajero of Mint Care Nigeria as she takes us around her store and her lab. Enjoy.
This is my lab, so we don't actually have a lot of finished products here because we're just transitioning into the shop that you guys will see. But a lot of our popular products are bar soap. This is what we're making today. It starts off as an oil, and then you mix it with lye, it turns into this, you cut them up, you package them after 6 weeks again. And then we have here body butter. I can open this for you. This is another bestseller, especially during the Hamatan. It's very moisturizing for skin. It's all natural products. It lasts long as well because it's so thick. All our raw materials are either natural or organic, and we try to get the ones that we can get here, but then unfortunately we do have to import most of them. It's one of those businesses where you can start off really small and then grow from there. So, I mean, if you're opening a shop, yes, but I didn't start off with this shop. I just started making them and selling them online. I would recommend that anybody that's doing this takes a proper course to learn how to do this, although there are a lot of people that just kind of learn on their own. Just because you're working with people's skin, I would recommend taking a course, learning about the different ingredients, what it is, and then you have to understand what your brand is going to be, like what your selling point of the brand is going to be. And then that's how you start. That's how I started. Actually, I needed products for myself that I couldn't find in the market. And so I started making them myself. I took a class, I took another class, and then I took another class to turn it into a business. I would say that if there's anything you want to do, it doesn't have to be this business. Just make sure you're going to do it well. And I feel like in Nigeria, a lot of people start businesses, then close shop, then start another one tomorrow. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, the business is going to be hard. There are going to be different challenges. So you have to stick with it. You really have to be patient and not expect to just hammer. like immediately. So I would say that make sure what you're doing is you're doing it well, and eventually I think the right people will come to you and appreciate your work, and it'll be successful. So we're just about opening the shop, which you people will see. In the next 5 years, I want us to be able to have maybe a hair care line, I'm not sure, maybe hair. But then what I'm concerned with right now is just making sure that our products are available on a global scale. People that want them all over the world are able to get them. So whether that's online or having different locations, pop-ups, that's what we're trying to do in the short-term future. This is my favorite one, so they're wooden wicks, which is new here as well. And so it does smell good. You should come and smell it. I think I've had a really good, solid support base. My friends and my family have been supporting me since I started. I try to make sure as well that our products live up to what they say they're going to do. And so I think when people see that you're not just kind of like hustling, that this is something that you take seriously, they support you. So it's been good, and it's been good considering how difficult things are now in Nigeria and how everybody is struggling. I think we've been very blessed, very lucky. We're having our official launch on the 11th of March, and from there I'm sure you'll hear more about us.
That's it this week on Young Entrepreneur. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining us.
Quite interesting stuff there. Young Nigerians are increasingly embracing productive ventures for both the domestic and international markets. Talking of which, our in-house expert on exports, Femi Boyade, has some tips to share on exports.
Where do you go to get support? What kind of support? The first thing that comes into the mind of a Nigeria exporter is, where do I get finances to finance my export project? Of course, that immediately takes you to the Nigeria Export-Import Bank. That is the agency that you need to go to, that also, I understand, now has products, financial products that cater for all segments of, all categories of exporters, from the small, medium exporter, even to the Nigerian-made multinational corporations that have large orders to satisfy. So for export financing, you would go to the Nigeria Export Promotion Council. Talking about export quality, you want to probably authenticate or cross-check if your product has met the required quantities outside before you start marketing. You will need to go to Standards Organization of Nigeria, that is responsible for manufactured products and manufactured exports, and the NAFDAC. Yes, so they will usually be responsible for the export of agricultural products and everything that is ingested. Bank of Industry, because they also have a penchant for SME development, they will help in financing. Of course, the commercial banks also, you cannot leave them out, so you go there for the assistance. We will come back at some other time for the specific incentives, either from the Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission. You wonder what NIPC has to do with export. We will be explaining that subsequently. Whether it's from NIPC or from NEBZA, the Nigeria Export Processing Zones Authority, that also has its own package of support for export activity, or for that matter, the popular Export Expansion Grant that is administered by the Nigeria Export Promotion Council for packaging and labeling and issues that have to do with quality parameters, and this we're definitely going to be guiding our viewers a little bit with a little bit more details.
The Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, the Made in Nigeria campaign. In the midst of unprecedented multiple challenges, our great country Nigeria, as Africa's largest economy, is surely marching on to a new era of all-round prosperity, especially through re-engineered and diversified economy, powerfully driven by the change agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR.
We will patronize local entrepreneurs. We will promote the manufacturing powerhouses. Our objective is to make Nigeria a new manufacturing hub.
It is not time to complain. It is time to join the campaign. It is time for economic recovery, growth and diversification of our economy by Made in Nigeria.
Let's now take a look on how the capital markets performed this week.
For the next few weeks, we do not think that there will be any significant change in the direction of prices between now and the end of March. Maize prices will tighten slightly, but not too significantly, as long as the prices are at or below import parity price. We expect the prices to remain somewhere between 94 naira per kilogram and not much more than 100 naira per kilogram before the middle of April. In the soybean market, we expect a significant squeeze because we are a little removed from the last harvest, and we are not expecting any significant volumes in the market until the next harvest between November and December this year. So yes, there will be a squeeze and probably a little bit of importation for the biggest demand pockets for soybeans in the market, which is mostly in the feed mill and soybean oil processing companies. For paddy rice, we also are looking at a shorter time span between now, that's the current availability in the market now, and the beginning of Q3, where the harvest of the dry season production, which is ongoing now, begins to hit the markets. Between now and then, there will be a hustle among the processing companies for whatever is left of the last wet season harvest. And we think that until then, there will be mostly slight price appreciations across the different markets in the country.
Well, that's the much we can take on this week's edition of the program. I hope you found it quite rewarding. I am Sophie Aigbomia. Many thanks for watching.